So I hear a rumor that people want to know how to make my ribs. So I'm going to teach you how to make McKey's my ribs. What you start off with is 2 racks of trimmed ribs. You want the trimmed because you want a lot of the membrane gone already, but there's still going to be a little bit of the membrane there. So when you're cooking it, you want the membrane on the bottom so that it gets most of the cooking, so that it's knocked out of the park and it's not something that you're chewing on all day. So we also have watercress, cilantro, ginger, and garlic. Now, the secret ingredient to my ribs is Southern Classic Dr. Pepper. Some people always look at me and go, that sounds disgusting, you're crazy. I say, you're crazy, use Dr. Pepper. So we're going to go ahead and start getting things started here. Start chopping everything up and putting it right in to the rib dish. Alright, now that we have everything minced up, closer, everything minced up and ready to go, we're going to start putting everything in to the meat. So let's get the cutting board out of the way, bring the meat over. Now you want everything to be, I have a lot of everything. You're going to want a lot of everything so that you get a lot of taste. This is cilantro, which I am putting out evenly, spreading out evenly between these guys here. A lot on top. With that, watercress on top. Kind of looking like a golf course at this point, but that's okay. Then everything will cook down, so it will be able to see your meat a lot easier once everything starts to settle down a little bit. Throw the garlic in. I'm cheating. I'm sorry. I'm cheating. I should have done the garlic the regular way, but I didn't feel like it. So, spread it out. Now for the big part. Let's use all of this garlic, because I know I'm a garlic fan. So let's just pile the garlic in there. The Dr. Pepper. The glorious holy grail of sodas must always be used on ribs. Some people use Coke, some people use Diet Coke. They're crazy. Just pour that right in the middle of everything so all the flavors start to meld together. That's one. It's probably going to be 2 cans each, or to the top of the meat, so that the membrane at the bottom, which if you remember, I told you to put membrane down first. Membrane is completely coated, and the carbonization of this and cooking is going to tenderize that membrane for you. Let's do the second one here. Just sounds good, doesn't it? Just sounds like your heart's gonna go, ah, I'm alive. There's nothing wrong with a little heart dilation from here and there, you know what I mean? You know what I'm young, I can still feel my heart. Alright, now that everything is all set, this is what your ribs should look like. This is what your ribs should look like. Now that your oven has been put up to 275, or if your oven works, 250, put them both in for about 2.5 hours, and we'll check back in a minute. See you in a few. So, the ribs have been cooking for 1.5 hours on the membrane side down, and now we're going to have to flip them over so that both sides get exactly what they need out of this concoction that we have made up. So let me bring these guys out. Close this up. Now after we flip, we are going to be letting this cook for one more hour because it's been an hour and a half on this side. So we flip that over. Try to get as much of this stuff on top as you can. It's probably going to be better if I use a spoon doing that. Put that right on top. So these have been cooking for another hour. I'm going to bring the camera in close so you can start to see how the meat starts to recede back on the bone there. It's been cooking for 2.5 hours together so far. You want to crank up the heat to 375 if your oven doesn't work quite right, and 350 if it does. Now, I'll bring this one over here. Now we're going to get rid of everything but the meat. We don't need any of this anymore. So, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take the ribs that are in here. Oh, doesn't that just look delicious? And put it in that for a second. Dump everything out. You don't need any of it anymore. Scrape all this out, because here what you're going to do is put the meat back in this. Anything that's left over might burn a little bit, so you don't want too much stuff in there. We bring the meat back over, and then we bring out the barbecue sauce. Now, use whatever barbecue sauce you want. Myself, I have become addicted to dinosaur barbecue thanks to my girlfriend. Brought me to Harlem to have that delicious meal. So I like to use dinosaur barbecue, which is also gluten-free for my mother and I. So we have that on here. And what's the best word to put? Just put as much as you want on there, because it's just going to get better the more barbecue sauce you put on. Let's put that on. We're going to cook the barbecue sauce on the membrane side first, so that it gets a little beaten up by the barbecue sauce. And when your oven's up to 375, pop these bad boys in there and cook away. Cook 30 minutes on one side and 30 minutes on the other. And you want your meat to recede about 1/2 inch to 1 inch on the bone. So there'll be about that much of the bone sticking out. And that's when you know you're done. Believe me, I wish you were in this room to smell the air that is in here, and I can't even imagine what it's going to smell like, right? Alright, let's ask the camera person to swoop in and take a beautiful look at those ribs right there. I'm going to take these over, and we're going to chop them up, and then serve them up. You're going to want yourself a very good knife, because this is not always the easiest thing to cut through. But if you come in and you check that out and see it's cooked all the way through and just enough barbecue sauce on top. Now that we've gotten all the ribs separated and cut into single serving slices here, put the tools away. I don't care where the tools go, as long as this goes in my stomach. Please enjoy my ribs.